time dream winner Esteban. He's a center in LFG. He's been around for the past couple seasons. He has a new ring in the new generation as well. Okay.
They took it away, bro. They took it away, bro.
Okay. So what season?
Hey, let's get right into it, though.
Yeah, let's get into it. And what season and with which QB did you start playing LFG? Like your first ever season?
Oof. Shit, yo. I'm gonna be honest, like, for the people who know me, bro, like, I've had a history where, like, in the beginning I was a QB, then I started wide receiving for that war and shit. I low-key popped off and shit. I was a good short. But then after that, I took a break. I went to OFL. I transitioned to OFL, made history there. Then I came back to LFG season, I think it was 13 when I first centered with Graph. I remember that Law and Joe's knew me from OFL. So I told Graph, yo, Graph, slide in Esteban and shit and let him center. And, you know, Graph was chill enough to let me slide. And from there on out, I think that season I made history. I let up 0 sacks that season. Or I think I let up 1. And from there on out, we made Final Four. We faced Jason, and that's where I started to like blow and shit. Cause in the Final Four, like I already had like an audience watching me, and like, you know, we were versus BBLA and Pupasad, and I low-key did good that game. So yeah.
Alright. And then what was your favorite Super Bowl like that you've ever played in? Out of all the Super Bowls that you made.
Shit. I don't want to give him credit 'cause he's a little bitch, but Jason's Super Bowl for sure was fun. Snickers was one that, yeah, but Snickers was one that, like, I don't regret for sure. Like, with Snicker, it was a good ass season because that was the first Super Bowl I ever made with LFG, and you know, it was a different QB. He had a different play style, so I really like Snickers, but I would pick Jason.
Yeah. And then, who's your favorite LFG QB that you've ever played with? Like any QB that you've ever played with?
Hey, you setting me up, bro. Shit. I'm gonna name 3 cause just to like, out of respect for everybody.
Yeah.
Shit, bro. I don't like name dropping. I'll say, okay, so for the first one, I'll say Jason. They're not in order.
Yeah.
I'll say Jason. I'll give props to Champ. And the last one I would pick Graph, but over the seasons, like, I've noticed that Graph, I don't know, has not been doing well, but Graph back then and now, well, not now, but like, you know, like 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, yeah, he was pretty good. So I'll give it to Graph, Jason, and Champ.
Alright. And then, what was your favorite franchise to play for in LFG? Like uniforms, logos, anything?
The Ravens, bro. The Ravens. Season 14 was clean.
Alright. And then, have you beefed with like any centers or DEs before? Like somebody you just like absolutely hate?
Nah, bro. Nah. Some people say memo and shit, but to me, it was all jokes. Like, I don't take nobody serious, bro. Like, to me, it's all like fun and games. To be honest, I don't pay attention to who's on the team or what. I just show up and play. If I notice that they're playing good and shit, or like I notice like there's some certain DEs that I know that have different play styles, so I already know how to adjust to them. I'm not saying that I won't let up a sack and shit, but I would definitely, like, you know, like counter whatever they got going on. So I already know by some sort of DEs and shit how they play.
Alright. And then, do you consider yourself like a top 3, top 5 all-time center? Like, all time. There's no bias here.
Look, man, no bias. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm number 1, even though I always think I'm number 1 and shit, just off of what I've done. But yeah, I definitely do think top 5 for sure. I've done it in all three leagues. Like, for the people who don't know me, bro, I've done it in LFG, OFL, AFL. Like, I won rings on all those leagues, and I made Super Bowls on all of them too. So I feel like I was the first center to ever do that. BBLA was like the first like tight end slash center slash DE to ever do it, but he wasn't a real like center. He transitioned from like tight end, so that's why I consider myself the first one to ever do it.
Yeah. And then, who's the hardest center like you ever played in a game? Like somebody that was just like borderline unshotable.
Nobody, bro. Nobody. Some people say Ignite, but faced him in the Final Four with Pab, did him dirty. We dropped him off. I dropped a sack on him. In fact, it was a safety to clutch up the game. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
to be honest, bro, there's some people that are good, and I'll give them credit, but not to where they rate them. Like, you can put some DEs and stuff, and to be honest, I didn't know who Pab was until he DM'd me and shit. And not to give him no like shit, you know, he's chill from what I don't know, heard and shit. He's on the team with us, but you know, he has been someone that has DM'd me, always shit talk me. I've never known the kid ever since I faced him. Like, I didn't think anything of it. Like, to me, he's not special, but he's someone with that's good for other centers that, you know, go against him. But when I go against him, never struggled. Ignite is someone who's very well known. Didn't struggle with him. The only person I won't say that I did struggle with was Memo, and it wasn't that it was a big struggle, but it was just that like he you know, he had a couple sacks on me and shit, but besides that, that's about it.
Yeah. And then, who's like the hardest DE you've had to play?
That I've ever played with?
Yeah, no, you like ever had to play against?
Memo.
Oh, Memo for sure. Like locked in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then, what QBs in LFG would you say have the best scrambling?
That's funny, bro. We was just talking about that. Oh fuck. I'm gonna name 3 because I just think it's not fair. I not in order. I say Jason, Graf, and Atrup.
Graf?
Yeah.
Bro.
When I played with him, he would listen to me a lot, and like part of scrambling is like listening to your center or like going freestyle, whichever one. But he would follow me for sure, but he would also like, I don't know, like wander off and shit, and like, you know. So I would say Graf for sure, H-Up and Jason.
Alright, and then, is there like a specific number you wear in like all your leagues? And if so, do you have a reason for wearing that number?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, 19. So 19 not a center number, that's just a wide receiver number. When I first started, that's the number I wear. I like Adam Thielen, or used to like, when I was legit and shit, but ever since that, I just kept it. There's some people that know me, and I used to like stream and shit, and they would see that my shit was Adam Thielen all the time. So yeah, that's why.
Alright. And then, do you think like the new gen centers are like coming out now? Like not at the start of like the old generation, like the start of this generation, but like new gen centers are like coming around this season. Do you think they're gonna be as good as like all the old gen centers from the old blocking?
That's tough.
Look,
I will say this: there's.
I don't think it'll be that good. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to hear your opinion.
So here's my opinion, and I'll be straight up with everybody. Like, it's no ego shit. I think the person who has played the ball game the longest understands how it works. Like, the thing with center is you'll never find the perfection until you actually like try new shit. And I feel like there's certain centers who just commit to blocking to one side and don't know the actual way of switching. It's not just to switch from DEs to DEs, but I kind of do this thing. If you guys watch my plays and shit, like I kind of do this thing where like me myself, I act like if I had the ball and I fake the DEs, because in the end of the day, the DE is watching the center. They're not watching the QB. They're watching the center. So hitting fakes on centers is like the key, and it's hard to teach it because it takes a lot of commitment. It's like you have to break what you're doing, stop, fake someone, and then roll the other way to try to see if you can have one of them bite, and whoever bites, that's where you roll off of. And it's very hard to fake the DEs, but if you do it correctly, it works every time.
Yeah. Alright, and then what was your favorite team that like you've ever played on in LFG?
I said Jason because the time when we played season 18, like, yeah, it was season 18. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Actually, no, I take that back. Season 14 with Snicker. was the best season, bro. I remember Jason just screaming his lungs out.
Season 14?
Like this nigga, yes, this nigga couldn't breathe type shit. Like
I saw one of
it was the
those
Super Bowl.
videos.
Yeah, it was on the Super Bowl and shit. Like this nigga just started screaming because I just kept talking. Mind you, it was my first Super Bowl. I was legit back then, and you know I would tell Snicker to follow me and shit, and he wouldn't follow me. Snicker wasn't a person or isn't a person who follows their centers. He kind of like just does what Elijah does, like just like run around type shit. But yeah, for sure I would say he was the one that just that season was season was the best, bro.
Yeah. And then who is like your GOAT QB all time? It might be a Champ, but I was wondering if it was somebody else.
Nah, it's actually not Champ. So I will say this though, Champ is amazing, bro. But I think over the seasons, there's been less and less comp. So that's the thing. Like if you paired Jason, Champ, Chase, and all these people playing at once, then it's really hard to pick the GOAT. But there's been times where Champ has won and like Jason hasn't played, Chase hasn't played, and you know, stuff like that. Like back then when Champ made his Super Bowl with Graf and shit, like when they versus not the new gen but old gen, you know, he wasn't it, bro. Like we all know that Champ was a flop, bro. Like Alchia said it, Joe said it, like that nigga was a flop. So to see him progress that quick, I would call him the GOAT for sure. There's nobody else I would say, but maybe Jason up next since Chase kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah. And then who's your favorite TE that you've ever played with? Like somebody that like blocks really nice, like you like their blocking basically. I think I might know this answer.
Okay, so I've had controversy on that because although I won a ring with Poop, and I will say this for everyone that knew me back then, I didn't like tight ends. I don't use tight ends. I don't like using tight ends because they mess up the little scheme that I got going on with like faking DEs and shit. Because if you anchor one side, it just forces you to roll on the other side. That other DE won't be there on time to switch and stuff, and I'm not gonna get into that, but it's complicated. So I've never liked to have a tight end personally. However, Poop has been someone who I've had tight end for me a long time, but I won't choose him. I'll actually choose Pillow just because of him listening to me. So I always call out how the tight end has to block, if it's inside, outside, or block middle, because of I know the play that I'm gonna do, because of how the DEs are playing. Like if I notice that right side DE is playing wide, left side DE is not playing wide, what I'll do is I'll send him on the left side, the DE that's not playing wide. I'll take care of the DE who's playing wide, and I'll just block middle. So it's always a free mid split, and it's always free LOS.
So you would say UFlow is your favorite tight end, like for sure, right?
Yeah, he's very underrated.
Alright. And then what QB have you played for the most in LFG?
A-Trup.
A-Trup? How many seasons? So I know you made a Super Bowl with them.
About 5, but I've been inactive. I just show up on playoffs.
Alright. And then what DE do you think is like the most overrated DE of all time? Like somebody that like everybody hypes up, but they just don't live up to it.
Pab.
Bob?
He's good, but okay. So I will say this: to where they put him, I don't think so. Judging off of the center and DE that we just did, I proved niggas wrong, bro. Like I called out every play in the VC with him in the VC, and like, you feel me? He still ended up flopping LOS all day. So I would say Pab because he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good, and he's good for centers that are not experienced to handling that. But when we ran it up, center versus DE, I stick firm on my opinion, Pat, for sure.
Alright.
He's still a great DE though.
Yeah. And then who are your top 5 centers of all time?
Oh, there's no way you put me in the spot like that.
Bro, I had to, bro. I had to.
Alright, so I'm gonna be honest. There's controversy with number 1. I'm gonna put myself on number 1. Let me explain why. I think Tendies has been carried all along. Nobody can deny this. I love Tendies to death, man, but he's even admitted in DMs, not that he's been carried, but that I am the best center in his eyes. The reason this controversy was long is because he's had way more Super Bowls, but in reality he's only had Super Bowls with Champ. And if you really watch his gameplay, he just sticks to one center. The other DE just kind of contains, and Champ is always pushed back, but that's the GOAT, bro. He's always gonna air it out and shit and make plays. But I've made 4 Super Bowls with 4 different QBs. So and it's been Snicker. Snicker has barely made even Super Bowls. A-Trup, who's rarely made a Super Bowl. Jason, who's made Super Bowls, of course, and then Champ. So it's been 4 different QBs that I made Super Bowls with. But I'm gonna put myself as number 1. I'm gonna put number 2. Are you talking about all time?
Yeah, it's all time. No, it's you.
Okay, so I would include you on top 5 if it was right now, but since we're talking about all time, let's keep it respectful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do Ignite at second.
Okay.
Let's do Swift Arrow at third.
Connor?
Oh
my god.
Thing is that he was good back then, apparently, so to what they said, but we can put him at 5. So we're gonna put Swift at 5, we're gonna put Tendies at 4, we're gonna put Bezins at 3, we're gonna put Ignite at 2, we're gonna put me at 1. That's what I have.
Okay. That works. That's an interesting list, actually. I haven't seen a list like that with Connor on it. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Well, I give him my respect because, to be honest, he was the first to ever do it. So if we're talking about all time, we're not gonna forget about what people did, bro. Like I can tell you he's ass as fuck, but I can tell you he was overrated as hell. But I'm still gonna give him my respect because apparently he did it in the old LFG. So I gotta give him my respect. I was wide receiving in that time, so.
Yeah, you're good. And then, do you like the new way LFG is like running itself, like with the new college teams and shit, new divisions, or do you like the old way of divisions and all the NFL teams that were like D2, D1, D3, all that?
So I actually like the old LFG where there's no divisions.
Yeah.
It's just straight LFG.
Yeah,
it's way more skill. Yeah, it's way more skill.
Yeah, it's way more skill. So you got
way
teams,
more
like,
skilled.
in and out of prime time, at top of D1, all that shit.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is my last question for you before you go. Do you see yourself playing in some of the future seasons? Because I know you've been inactive these past couple weeks, but do you ever see yourself coming back and getting active?
No, not really.
Not really. You think you're gonna be off for a while?
So here's the thing that I don't like LFG. LFG tends to forget what people have done. Like, if we take it back 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
No, let's not say 2 seasons. Let's take it back like 5 seasons. I was considered the best center, or the top second best center. It was between me and Tendies always. You remember that era?
Yeah.
Where it was me or Tendies? That era has kind of died off when I became inactive. So the thing that I hate about LFG is the fact that they forget what people have done.
Yeah, they move on
So they
fast.
they act, yeah, exactly, and I'm gonna get my point across with this, that they act like that person isn't the same person now. Like I don't believe in getting washed. I always come back. Yo, I promise you, I haven't touched the QB battle. I haven't touched nothing. I literally I was in my girl's crib. We went out to go fucking watch movies. I came back, and did I not shit on these niggas at DE, bro? Like, I'm not gonna name drop, but you feel me? The quote unquote best DE in the league. Like, yo, I don't believe in the wash shit. So the fact that like people don't include me as the best center or like top 5, well, it's always top 5 for sure, but just top 3. The fact that they don't include me on top 3 in today's era just because I haven't been active is like so ridiculous, bro. To the point where, like, you feel me? Like, it just makes you just not want to keep playing. Because it's like, damn, when will you actually satisfy them? You get me? Like, look at Tendies. Quote unquote Tendies was the best center according to media because he won so many rings.
Yeah.
Which obviously I deny, but he won so many rings and he doesn't even get talked about anymore because he doesn't play.
Yeah,
you feel me?
And
he was called the quote unquote GOAT. So when people stop playing, like, they always call like, oh, this is the new era. This is the new, like,
Yeah.
in reality, when everybody was playing, phase wasn't a thing. This other fucking, I don't know,
Like,
other people, like, I can't name you new centers because I don't know nobody. Like, I just know phase because I used to have a OCFA team, and like he wanted to join and shit, and I always trained him and I always helped him because he was always on the other team and shit. I would help a lot of centers and shit, so you feel me? But even him, I wouldn't like to claim him. Like, completely think he's horrible, but people have adapted to him being good because of what Champ has like put him on the spotlight for. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
so if I was playing in that era, I would have taken this kid's spot in like seconds. You feel me? So the fact that like some centers stop playing and others get the shine that they should be, like, they shouldn't be getting is ridiculous to me. That's why I don't like LFG, bro. Like, OFL, it always stays like, yo, you're the best center, this and that, whatever. Like, there's always respect, but in LFG, there's never that respect where, yo, these were the best and that's it. Like, there's no in and out about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it is.
Alright. Well, thank you for coming on here, bro. I appreciate it.
For sure, bro. I appreciate you, yo. For anyone listening, if you did listen, I'm a little sick right now. Apologize. We were gonna do this a little bit quicker, and we were gonna do it earlier, but you know, I went to Nashville and shit. Y'all know I'm from Florida, but yo, I call him Cino, so don't get me wrong, bro. I know his name, but I call him Cino. Yo, do your thing, bro. I really think that like in this new era, you've been coming up for real. I think you're the only center that's performing here that's currently active.
Yeah.
And you know, props to you, bro. You just won a ring, so keep doing your thing. I think you're the best center right now when it comes to playing actively.
Yeah.
Once I get back on my groove though, hopefully we get a ring and shit, you feel me?
Yeah, yeah. I got you.
But keep it up, bro. Just keep living in this shit. Best tip I gotta tell y'all boys, you know, don't type in LFG, bro. Don't fucking sweat your tears on that shit, bro. A nigga barely even types, bro. Just play the game, enjoy the game, fuck that shit.
Facts.
I love y'all niggas.
Alright.